lounging, son.
All right, welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and back with me, I got cartoonist Wesley Griffith, and we are going to be going through the first issue of his series, The Jump. Welcome back, dude.
Hey man, good to be here.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit in our Indie Creator Spotlight together, but I didn't want to get too deep into it just because I wanted to save some of that selfishly for this episode. So first off, if you could just maybe just talk about a little bit of the idea behind this series, kind of what inspired you to start this new ongoing series.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a big crime comic fan. I'm a big Frank Miller fan, and I kind of for some time had the idea in my head of wanting to do a comic book series with a large ensemble cast of different characters. And one day, when I was living in San Diego, I went to go out and get some groceries, and on the way, I saw one guy jumping another guy's car, and I had this idea in my head of like that's one of the kindest things that someone can do for another person, but then what if that act sort of led to the person driving away after their car getting jumped doing something terrible, and what could the consequences of that be? And then the germ of that idea sort of became like the impetus for this story.
Yeah, this just from the cover alone, like I think I said it, but all of your covers are very striking and pop. There's a pop art quality to them in terms of you just have these like bright backgrounds and then these characters. Like I love the way this gun is just fucking coming at us.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I have a graphic design background. I majored in graphic design and always had loved book cover design, and I don't know, wanted to design. Like I always try to go in mind with designing a comic book cover with the making something that pops and stands out from the racks if people are gonna have it on a rack.
I also think people don't use yellow enough on covers. I've been talking about it recently going through old comics. They used to, and it just stopped for some
Yeah,
reason.
it it's so funny. Like recently I was in a comic book store and they're doing this awesome, like I love that the big two and three are doing these facsimile editions now. I think it's great.
Hmm.
And I saw like it was a reprint of Detective Comics, like the first appearance of
27, yeah.
Batman. Yeah, yeah. And like it jumped off from the rack. I'm like, wonder why. Could be the fact that it's bright fucking yellow.
Yeah, it's true though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
so true.
yeah, it still works.
And then you had mentioned too, like that this originally you serialized before going to print on Instagram, which is why we see them in this square format.
Yeah, I wanted to have the six panel grid in mind because previously I had put out comics that I had published through Instagram first and split up the pages or split up the panels individually to work for the sliding mechanism, I guess, that they have on there.
Hmm.
And went into this project with that in mind to have a six panel grid so that each panel can be broken up into individual squares very easily.
It also has a very cinematic feel, like the shots that you choose to show of the sequence of events.
Yeah, I don't know. It's composing in a square is very, very weird, and I don't know. It makes me really like appreciate what a I don't know what a wider panel can do,
Hmm.
but I don't know. You just have to get creative and do your best.
And then you also, and then another thing we talked about is like most of this comic is in black and white, but you chose to have a touch of red in the first few pages. What was the decision behind that?
Manga influence. I had always loved in manga how they will sort of begin a lot of their stories with the first few pages with this process red spot color for certain sections for the first couple of pages. And I don't know, I'd always wanted to try doing that. And this was sort of the excuse to implement that coloring technique.
I love, again, I just love how the gun's coming out. And it is interesting thinking about it. You still talk about having to fit everything into a square and, like it can kind of be constricting, but at the same time, kind of makes you like think a little bit more in terms of how you're going to lay this stuff out.
Yeah.
But this is great too. I love how like the sweat beating down, looks down at the gun, thinking like you can just see it all going on in his head. Like the fact that there's no dialogue and it's all just the image giving us the story, I think really adds to the moment for sure.
I love wordless comics. Like honestly, like and as my hand degenerates from hand lettering all the time, I think my next like project, whatever once the jump is complete, is just to do an entirely wordless comic.
This I love too. This can't always be easy. Doing the reflection, I've always thought about
It's
that.
yeah, it at least in that first panel, it works because it's just that man's face and the helmet is so blown up with that in mind, so that it would be pulled off essentially, and then more is taken away in the second panel where you're not seeing the full figure anymore because it would get lost. It's just the gun, I believe. I have my copy here as well. Let me pull look as well. Yep, just that the hand and the gun in it.
And then this, the opposing gun blast.
Boom,
I
boom.
love that. Dude, I love it. And then I love that you also there's no sound effects either.
Mm-mm.
I just realized that as I'm looking at it again, that it truly is like it's this is a silent
I wanted anyone in any part of the world to view this prologue, and even if you didn't want to continue with the rest of the story, you understood what this
yeah.
was absolutely. Because at that point, if you were to have a bang, someone that doesn't know English could be like, "Bang, I don't know what that is," but
Yeah.
you know what a gun blast is, and whether fortunately or unfortunately.
And I love these little moments you put into that really like it just makes the world feel more lived in, like this guy walking his dog and then yanking him back.
Hmm.
Thought that was pretty fun. And then
Yeah.
like the close up of him, like the spick. This reminds me a little bit of Dan Klaus, some of this stuff.
I wanted to establish that this getaway driver is a scumbag. He
Yeah.
is enjoying the fact that this dog is in pain, and it gives you a sense like, oh, this is not a good person.
Yeah.
And boom.
Love it, dude. This guy is such a scumbag too.
Yeah, Frank, I love him.
God, dude. I love how he's hunched over too. He's like not even like standing up straight.
Scratching his
Scratch it. Like
face.
you can hear I can hear like the scratching of the beard, like as I'm
Yeah.
reading it too.
Yeah, we this is now granted my apartment was never this messy, but this apartment the complex at least that's very much that's based on the apartment complex I lived in San Diego.
Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, we have Frank Gutman here. We learn his last name in the second issue. Low level would-be criminal with delusions of grandeur. This is his big day. This is a flashback. This is hours earlier before this heist has taken place, and he's supposed to be the getaway driver, and he's self-aggrandizing and talking to himself or to his dog about how this is going to be his opportunity to move out of this absolute hellhole of an apartment that he's been living in for the good period of time, and he's really looking forward to moving up in the world. And he's talking a lot about merit and meritocracy and how like we gotta earn our keep in this life, even though what he's about to do is just steal a bunch of money.
Yeah. It's great, dude. I love how dirty his fucking apartment is too.
Yeah. And now we move on to see him at an even, lower kind of state, spying on Instagram, sees that Instagram story that he wishes he did not see of a former romantic partner of his who's now no longer with him and definitely having a baby with someone else. And
Mm.
doesn't put him in the best mood, but there's nothing he can do about it except, get off the toilet, wash his hands, and take the only control he can have, which is basically remembering to put his toilet roll on on the roller.
I love that shot too. That's
Now,
great.
now we expand the world a little bit of Frank's apartment, and we meet three other characters, Natasha and Maria, who are sort of having this little astrology discussion and talking about the idea of balance and trying to get back that balance, and sort of like a little foreshadowing for the things that are going to play out later in this book. Also, the idea of sort of inaction and not taking action when maybe you should, because as Frank is walking by from this conversation, he's witnessing one of his neighbors beating on this dog and not doing anything about it as the girls are sort of narrating, like, like, oh, like, I wish we didn't have to hear that. And she's like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? You going to make her stop? And
Yeah.
Not really talking to her, more so the caption box is talking to Frank. Frank is not gonna do anything to stop this. He's too self-interested.
And this like ensemble thing, this goes back to what you were talking about in our interview about like stray bullets, right? Like doing kind of more of an ensemble thing.
Bigger cast and also,
Yeah.
yeah, like having these characters introduced and then with the mindset that they are gonna pay off later and come back and be a part of the plot. Now we get now we get to this nightmare that we've all experienced as drivers at one point in
Yes,
time in our life where you want to go somewhere, you got to be somewhere, and your fucking car doesn't start because your battery's dead.
dude. The
Rough.
fucking way this like the tension you build, the anxiety that I felt watching him do it. I was like,
I've had
God,
this happen in like the dead heat of like Phoenix, Arizona,
oh my
and like
God.
it you get that sweaty and you feel that terrible when this happens. It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, just the visceral fucking anger right here, dude.
And then the last two panels is a nice buildup of tension for your page turn. We have this horror movie
Yeah,
moment,
dude.
this lurching hand, and it's revealed to be a transient acquaintance of Frank's Shiny Dan here.
Dude,
And
he looks fucking wild, dude.
yeah, you think, yeah, this is actually, it's funny. Speaking of influence, I feel like this character is like influenced from like growing up watching like Rocco's Marvin Life. I feel like,
Yes, he looks
yeah,
like the fucking what's his name? What's Rocco's neighbor? Kind of
Heifer.
reminds me. Heifer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, it's sort of this I don't like this little silly joke where he says like, "Well, I think I can. Are you having car trouble?" And I think I have a way out of this. And it's almost you think he's going to be like a magical Yoda character. He's like, "Oh, you can jump my car." And he says like, "No, I'm fucking homeless. I can't jump your car. Like, when have you ever seen me with a car? Like, I was gonna say, go ask your neighbors, the other people that have like fucking homes." Anyway, just and he just like dismisses him and walks off, and that's Shiny Dan's moment for this story.
I love this guy. This shot right here too. I really dig the way you elongate the hallway like that and make his leg like come out
Mhm.
super fucking like almost like that fishbowl look type of effect that they
Yeah,
do stuff.
there's a cartoon. I don't know if it was like maybe in the back of my mind. It's like a Max Fleischer cartoon called like Bimbo's Nightmare or something like that. I can't remember it, but I that's what I'm thinking of when I'm looking at that now. Now, yeah, now
This too,
we're
the
gonna
fucking force within that, like
bang, bang, bang. Yeah, we're
yeah.
gonna get really like yeah into like desperate and asking all our these different neighbors here. This is
And
a
do all
Klaus
these people
influence.
do, I mean, yeah, oh yeah, I was gonna say that actually. But do they all play a part? Like, are these people inconsequential in terms of maybe seeing them in the future? Do you
I'll
or you'll see what comes from them?
I'll admit no. I mean I don't know. I won't say no. Maybe I can have like a couple of them come back later because they are really fun looking. But basically the most consequential one is Jan there in the
Yes.
last panel. So yeah,
I love his face right there.
let's see. Let me catch up on my copy here for a minute. So yeah, we meet Jan. She's the last. All the other neighbors have, in various ways, told him like that he's shit out of luck, and then finally, Jan is the one that tells him like, yeah, she has jumper cables. However, she's got to drive her husband to, or wait, no, she's got to pick up her husband from work. Can it wait? And Frank starts screaming that no, it can't wait. This is really important. Like these
Yeah.
people are going to kill me if you don't help me right now. Gets on his hands and knees and is absolutely pathetic and in contrast to his merit-based thinking that he's proclaiming earlier and
Yeah.
tells her, I'll do anything in all caps. And the second panel, anything.
I know, and that panel right there, dude, when you made the anything like that, like I could just see could see the wheels turning in her head, like,
Yeah,
okay. Like
I
she's
got
about
him.
to ask for something good, you know?
And then she just says like, fine, whatever. Like I'll help you. And then I look at him hugging her.
Hmm.
So, so like you can tell she's definitely like, oh my God, don't touch me.
Yeah.
And he's off, and then we reveal that her husband is not gone. He's not at work. He's right there and giving her the thumbs up. Whatever she did, it was right. What was supposed to be what she was supposed to do, which was
Yeah.
get this guy to be in her favor.
Yep. And I love it. That last panel as we see she jumps it up, one condition.
Yep, one
Oh,
condition. I want
yeah.
in on the score.
Oh, dude, so good.
Yeah.
Such a Such a good, like, I had no idea what she was gonna ask for. I didn't even think about it, but I love that I didn't know, you
Yeah,
know?
and we revealed that like earlier, like Frank's like proclivity for talking to himself and talking to his dog has a severe consequence because of this shitty apartment they all live in. The walls are really thin. She and her husband have heard everything that he has been talking about and planning this heist with his partners in crime for the past however long it's been. She says, like, I know, my husband Alex knows, we know. So, if you try to do anything like to get out of, this situation I have you in, we'll go to the police right away. And like also she says that like she knows the names of all the people in his crew.
Dude, that would piss me off, dude.
And then she gives him the ultimatum, like I'd say 50-50 sounds fair. And then we get well, dot, dot, dot. And then this big, like, kind of splash page for,
Yeah, I
um,
love this splash page, dude. I
yeah.
love how it's just no background, just the two cars and the two people with the shadow behind
Hmm.
them, dude. It's great. Great composition right there.
Yeah. And we let the decision hanging in the air and we never see a real confirmation, but we know it's happened because he's driving now. And now we alternate from the left tier of panels to the right, we have where he is and then we have where his thoughts are, where he's reminiscing about, one woman in his life that in his mind has scorned him by being with somebody else, having a kid with somebody else. And then in the last panel, we have the new problematic thing that he can blame his problems on and project them. That's why like even making it even more blatantly obvious, putting the target behind her.
Yeah. And then he just like, I'll get that fucking bitch. I love it.
Yeah, he's ruminating, like just saying like it's fine, no, it's fine. Like I got this, I have this completely under control. Just, get through today, do the thing I needed to do today, and then once it's done, I'll shoot her in the head. And he's continuing to do the thing that got him in trouble in the first place. He keeps talking to himself. He's not paying attention to, in the background, this police car that's about to careen and sidewipe us to T-bone him.
What a great ending panel.
Yeah. End of issue one.
So dope. So fucking dope.
It's funny, Rocco at the con told me that he thought that this comic was a one and done, which was interesting to me. I was like, I guess it could kind of work. That'd be like interesting if this was the end story.
Yeah.
But
I
but
think it
yeah,
does work as a one and done, honestly. It does. Because
yeah,
it's just like, like the whole message is like, I mean, I guess you could say is like just fucking keep your mouth shut and pay attention is
yeah.
basically what I get from it because he doesn't fucking know how to shut up and he fucking runs his mouth and because of that it cost him his life.
Hmm.
But I mean, I'm glad that there's more because I love the series. Thunder Beast I've read too. Like I said, I haven't checked all these out, but I'm excited to get into all of this stuff as well, dude, because huge fan of your work. Anybody listening and watching, go pick up the Jump, go pick up the rest of Wesley's stuff. I will drop all those links down below. And dude, thank you so much for doing this with me. We'll definitely come back again and go through some more comics for sure.
Hell yeah, man. This was fun.